Hey guys, I'm Ausyarr and welcome to my nuclear fission power reactor episode. What we're going to do today is we're going to build one of our today. We're going to look at a couple designs such as this one here, and we're going to look at some tips and tricks on how to get more power out of them, how not to die while making them, and general safety of the reactor. So we're also going to look at some good and bad designs. This one's sort of okay. First of all, I'm on a mining, a flat world. That's actually a mining world. You can tell that the Y level is actually where I'm at, 240 really. And the temperature, because of Reactorcraft, is quite cold. So this one at the moment is 11 degrees Celsius, which essentially is too low for a reactor to actually generate any kind of steam or heat. I've already got the steam pipes cut off for most of these because it's pretty bad to run a lot of reactors at once and not have the steam being caught. So that one over there, the steam's still going. Okay, so right now this one's a 4-core. It has some depleted uranium in it, and it's still going with some fuel in it already. Okay. So this one is capable of generating power, but right now the control rods, controlled by the computer in the center, are down, and what they do is they prevent essentially the neutrons from escaping the cores and going into another core. So the heat is generally generated by the neutrons traveling from one core, coming from the uranium, and going into the adjacent one, and interacting with essentially more uranium. So one core by itself is not enough. 4 cores is generally the minimum. You can probably get away with 3 depending on the temperature. So right now this is quite a cold reactor because we haven't got anything, the neutrons aren't passing through. And so if we just look at the fuel core, and you can see the temperature is about 1 degree. Should it go higher? What time is it? It's almost midday. We'll make it midday. Make it get a little bit hotter. What temperature is it? This is probably a really bad example here, because this one, basically, it's not going to generate enough power to really overcome the ambient temperature. Okay, so we might as well just skip this one for now. We're going to move on to the next one. So this one's a similar design, except you'll notice that the neutron reflectors are in a different place. Now, what these neutron reflectors do is they essentially bounce the neutrons coming off from these fuel cores. Now, the neutrons go in somewhat a random direction. They appear to be random. They're probably not. They go off in horizontal directions. So this one would have ones going towards that core, and to this reflector, and to this reflector. Now, sometimes the neutrons that hit this reflector are absorbed. Other times they're bounced back. So essentially this one and a reflector can actually heat itself by itself, I should say. The neutron comes out of here, bounces back, and interacts with the core once again. As you can see, it is getting some temperature. It's not getting that much temperature because basically the environment we're in, it's not exactly the best. So we're gonna have to move along to a 1. Okay, let's look at this one. Has this one got fuel in it? As you can see, it's already a lot hotter. It's 40 or so degrees Celsius. It still has fuel in it, and this one is basically designed to still has the reflectors. It doesn't have the cores. This one is to basically absorb as much heat as possible from these cores. Now, over there we've got the control rods. Those control rods do absorb heat, but they do not transfer the heat into power. The steam boilers, which are below these steam lines, essentially take in water from below, turn into steam, and then the steam goes onto the turbine to create power. So this one's basically a more efficient design of getting heat out of the cores. Those ones, the control rods can be put back in, and hence to lower the temperature. They would probably work a lot better in a desert, but they're not that powerful. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one seems to be the one of the better designs. As you can see, instead of having the cores separated by a distance, they're all centered in on one another. So essentially, the heat generated from them essentially transfers into the other cores, hence making them a lot hotter. This one, see, is about 70 or so degrees. That one over there was only about 40. So you can see heat plays the biggest part in this, okay? The steam boilers on the outside, because they are drawing in water, they do cool down the center of the core. So if we were to actually stop the water flowing into this, the core would get hotter and maybe get to a point where it would explode. I don't think these ones would explode. You need to get about 1500 degrees for a core to explode, which isn't a good thing. But essentially, these maybe we can get rid of some of the waste in these and refuel them. They might get a little bit hotter if we get rid of the waste. I'm not sure if the waste actually decreases heat or not. Okay, let's just get rid of the waste first and refuel them. Okay, refill that one, and this one, and this one, and yep, that one. So is the temperature going to get hotter? No, it appears that, oh, maybe, no, yep. So the waste inside them does actually affect the temperature of them. As you can see how it's getting up to about 100 degrees Celsius, which is boiling point of water. So this one, I think it does have steam pressure already in it, and it's got a tiny bit. We'll just, no, it's not generating enough to generate enough. Oh, there we go. So this one's going to generate a bit, only about one point or so million watts of power, which isn't that great. I'm just going to shut it off for now. Which way am I going? This way. Okay, now this one, similar to that design, is a double layer one. As you can see, it's already at 80 degrees. Ooh, it's running out of fuel already. Let's get this one as well. The only problem about double layer ones is you can only access access the top fuel cores. Not that. I'm going to rephrase that. If you've got, say, if you're looking at it from the bottom, and let's dig a bit further in here. If you're looking at it from this way, you can grab the fuel, the wasted fuel, but the fuel will not drop from the above cores yet. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be implemented or not, or I'm not making a mistake. The fuel cores, however, will drop through, so you can take the fuel cores out quite easy. And that one as well. Okay, let's get this out. Go to the top, make it daytime, just to give this thing a better chance. Increase, put some fuel in it. As you can see, the fuel drops down to the bottom one. That one. And it's going to build up temperature. 70. While we're here, we're also going to look at something. Here's basically a tip to make sure your reactor gets hotter or stays hot. It is to actually insulate it with some kind of material. I'm using concrete here. If you don't insulate it, essentially what happens is the heat from the center actually escapes out into the air, and then you lose the heat, therefore it doesn't go into steam, and you essentially are wasting uranium. So this one is getting up to about 100 degrees, so it is capable of making power. Okay, let's see, let's put a steam. Yep, there we go. This one's generating a fair bit of more power. because of the centralized heat area of the center, the 4 cores touching, plus the fact that it's a double layer. The steam boilers themselves are multi-block structures. As you can see, the texture doesn't. If I just knock that off, you notice how it changes. Okay, so the water does transfer up through the steam boilers. Okay, it's not exactly the best. About 400 million. So this is a pretty good design. 400 million watts out of one reactor. So this is probably the most efficient one I've seen so far. This one's essentially an attempt to see what happens if we put a dual layer of the control rod one in. And unfortunately, while it does work, it does generate enough power. The control rod center only actually works per layer, so you need 2. So yeah, and it doesn't exactly generate as much power as that one. So let's see if it's got a fuel in it. It's got fuel in it. Yeah, it's going to generate a bit. It's not going to do as much as this one. It's going to do alright. But let's move on to this one here. So this one's essentially the 4 plus the 4. So it's essentially the same as the dual layer one, except this one you can essentially access all the cores from above and below, which makes automation easier. So it's got fuel in it, 60% depleted. This one will work as well. That one's probably my favorite one for just the personal use. It's not exactly going to power a house server, but it'll probably power all the machines you've got when it builds up power. So this one's already at over 100 million watts, so we're just going to turn that one off for now so I can show you the big bertha. Okay, the big bertha takes on the design of the 4.1 before, except it takes that to 9. As you can see, this one gets a lot hotter, about 200 degrees Celsius. I think you can make a 4x4 core, or maybe even 5x5 core before it gets to the point right where the center is so hot to basically explode. So this one essentially makes a lot more steam. Ooh. And I'll show you exactly how much power it's creating. It's doing 8 or so gigawatts, and it runs, I think that's 7 are you working? Yep. A little bit of steam escaping. Here's another problem about making big nuclear reactors. The steam, if it escapes, doesn't get absorbed. Which was the hole I went up, this one. It essentially plays havoc. So yeah, that's one reason why you don't want to build big nuclear reactors. You want to keep them small. Okay, so that's a high pressure turbine, which I won't be going through, but we'll be making another episode on it. This nuclear power reactor cannot even drive this one around, so yeah, I'm gonna have to build a fusion plant just for that one, I think. Okay, is this one still running? Okay, let's kill that one. Alright, okay, first of all, let's go through oh, that's what I missed. Radiation. As you can see with all this waste, make sure you don't drop it, or else your whole area will get essentially irradiated. And the first sign that you're getting radiation happening is grass blocks turn to dirt blocks. And as you can see, there's a lot of radiation around here. And that is because while I was working on this one, I dropped just one piece of radiation, nuclear waste. As you can see, if you've got way too much steam and it's not being collected straight away, it does play havoc with all your machinery, so yeah. Okay, so let's go turn it to daytime. Daytime! Okay, let's start off. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have a I've got so much stuff I've got to get rid of now. Did I just drop that? Yep. You want to get yourself a good water supply. So we're just going to get a water reservoir. It should be, it's heavy water, we need normal water. And we need some liquid pipes. Another tip is to actually use liquid pipes rather than using fluid ducts, as the liquid pipes themselves can actually carry more water in them. And most of these, well, half these reactors, it's fine to do fluid ducts. The other half essentially turn so much water into steam that they actually start to run dry, and if they run dry they could potentially explode. So yeah, make sure you've got enough water flowing into them. Let's go over here, start the pipe. So you want to figure out what kind of design you want first at this stage. So we're probably going to go off a 3x3. Okay, so it's got to be 3x3 in the center, so the boiler is going around the outside. Okay, doop, doop. Okay, so I'm gonna, have I got a magic wand? I don't have a magic wand. At mod.rotary, magic wand. These things are neat little tricks. Okay, so if you place it down and then right click on it before it empties, you essentially get an infinite water supply out of Reactorcraft. That's a cheap tool though. Okay, so now we've got the water in there. You want to go and place steam boilers on the top. As you can see, the water is being sucked out of them. If you notice that you've got liquid pipes here that haven't got water in them, basically you need more water, or you need to bring in water from a different direction. So if you've got water coming from this way and these ones over here are getting empty, run a water supply in from this direction to solve it, because if these ones stop working, this part of your core will get extremely hot and, you know, kablooey. Boom, that's not a good idea. Then what you want to do is you want to place your cores in the center. Now, don't put fuel on them just yet, because if you put fuel into them, those neutrons are going to escape into the outside world, and you'll start seeing these dirt blocks. I mean, you're going to see dirt blocks. And those neutrons, if you happen to get hit by one of them, you're going to get sick, and maybe you could die, which is not a good idea. Plus, they'll kill animals and mobs or whatever. So before you put fuel in them, make sure you get your neutron reflectors out, and you essentially want to place them essentially in the path where the neutrons will fly. They don't come in on diagonal, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so like this. So essentially this core, we could essentially put fuel into it. It would start getting hot already. We won't do it just yet. What we'll do is we're going to put these steam lines. They connect to the steam boilers, and they essentially transfer the steam to the turbines over there. Okay. Where are we going to run the cord? Over here. Yeah, so there's another hint. You might want to build your nuclear power plants underground, or build a structure around them so they don't get stomped on by meteor craft or anything else that explodes. Okay, so we're just going to run this one down. Oop. There we go. Down level, down level, down level. And then at the end we're going to get a steam grate. So that's where the steam comes out. Be careful later on when the steam does come out. The steam does burn and hurt, so don't stand in its path. Okay. Usually you want to build up some structure a little bit up high, so when you go to place the turbines, the turbines have enough room to be placed, plus they're not going to interfere with anything on the ground. Okay, so I think a monster could walk under that, fine. An Enderman would probably get hit by that. you do want to light up the area around here. You probably want to also block off area to the turbine. If, say, a mob decides to walk into it, they'll die, but the turbine itself will start to lose blades and get damaged. And the power that it produces will actually be significantly decreased. So, and since these blades they're sort of expensive, yeah, try to make sure you don't walk into them. If you've watched any of my videos, you've noticed I have actually walked into one of the videos myself. I mean, one of the blades myself. Okay, so I'm just gonna get not yet. Still more to do on the core. Okay, now what you want to do now is you want to essentially insulate the core. The more sides of blocks that are actually touching air, the higher the chances that heat will escape from the reactor and hence be wasted. Okay, so concrete's a pretty good choice. It's fairly easy to make. You can use other blocks if you, well, I'm not sure which blocks you want to use. Raker in a changelog did say that there were some blocks that were essentially added to a list that were not suitable for insulating, and I haven't got that list, so it's going to take a bit of testing. But if you can make concrete seems to work fine. Okay, so once you've got that, looks like the reactors works pretty good. Okay, before we do that, we want to basically handle the steam, because like I said, if the steam gets out of control, basically, we'll just show you again. Is it still burning? Yep. Okay, looks like the steam's sort of okay. You get issues where the blades start pointing the wrong direction. So, yeah, this is always an issue with building big reactors. So yeah, that's going to be a hassle if you. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest making one this big. If you were going to go big, I'd go fusion and then build one of these. Much easier to handle steam. Okay, so now what are we doing? The steam, yes. Okay, so the steam should turn up on, I'm not sure which side, I think it's this side. Yeah, I'm trying to think about when from my Let's Play. Okay, from this side. Okay, so I'm just going to put a concrete block there just to represent where the steam will pop out. Yep. Okay, like this, like this. What I'm doing now is I'm essentially creating a funnel for the steam to traverse. Okay, so essentially the steam will come out roughly here and will follow up here, which is where we're going to catch it. So hang on. We're going to catch it with a condenser. Condenser there. So the condenser will catch the steam. It will turn it into low pressure water. If you want, you can use a, I'm on the wrong page, Reactorcraft. You can use a pressurizer to turn that low pressure water back into normal, water back into normal water, and then pump it back into the system. However, if you're only using water, you know, it's quite cheap to just make it and void it. So we're going to void it. Now I need a fluid duct. Fluid duct. Next page. Fluid duct. Wrong one. I want that one. So I can see the water coming out. Okay, so I'm going to run that there and there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a void pipe. Void fluid pipe from Buildcraft, which seemed to work pretty well at voiding water. Oh, that's a void transport pipe. Wrong one. This one. Okay, there we go. Where's my crescent wrench? I didn't bring it. Crescent wrench, yep. And I'm gonna need a servo as well. Just this servo. Yeah, probably not gonna need that book anyway. Okay, I'm going to servo it up. Oop. There we go. Right click to get into this manual, make sure it's on ignored. Make sure it's wrenched to be outputted red. That should work. So the steam should come out. Okay, we're going to get a... where's the dynamo? Dynamo! PC, if you want to know how to build that giant one over there, I'll put up a link in the description with the schematics so you can do it yourself. I'll probably do it in another episode at some point, but if you want to do it yourself, I'll show you the schematics. So that should tell us how much power this thing generates. What else we got? It's got water, it hasn't got fuel in it yet. Steam line, that looks right. Okay, so all we've got to do now is hope it works. Okay, so we're going to get rid of some of this extra junk here. Oh, I shouldn't have jumped that. Now we're going to need some fuel cores. Misspelled that. Uranium. You can chuck in plutonium if you wanted to, but that stuff burns hotter and hence increases the chances of kablooey. So yeah, I wouldn't go straight to plutonium since you need a breeder core to get to it anyway. Let's go this, and this, and this. Okay, so it should start getting hotter. Let's change it to daytime to give it a bit of a boost. So it's already up to 100, so it should go up to about 180 like that one does. Okay, should start producing steam soon. Yep. There you go, it's starting to work. The steam is being caught by the condenser, which is apparently empty for some reason. Why are you empty? Did I put that in the wrong place? I think I put that in the wrong place. I put it in the wrong place. Why is the steam not escaping? Oh, I'm gonna just assume that, yeah. There, yep. And servo. Yeah, okay, so how much power are we getting? We're getting about 700 million watts. That should go up to 950 million watts, which is pretty much the maximum amount of power you can get out of these turbines. You can use less turbines, I should say. You could use 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5, but essentially the more you use, the greater power you get. So if you use 4, the maximum you're going to get is about 450, and this one use 5, you can 950, and so essentially it halves every single one you don't use. So it's best to use as much as possible just to make it as efficient as possible. So if you're making about 900 million, 950 million, the likelihood is you've got enough steam in your steam lines to split off to another steam turbine. So we'll get that angular transducer just to see 196 cubic meters of steam. So essentially we could probably run we could run, that one's 3 layers, so that one we could probably run another 4 of these things, so we get about 2 gigawatts of power. But I generally like to only keep 1 because handling the steam of 1 is easy enough. Wait, is that steam block there? Is it me, or have I just prevented the steam coming out of these turbines altogether by placing a block on front of it? I'm gonna consider that a bug, but it's a bug that's working in my favor. So yeah. What's that? 950 million watts? Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so we might have just found a way to prevent steam by placing a block there. Okay, I guess that's a bug report. What else can I look at for today's episode? I can't remember. So we've got a 9x9 core. which gets hotter because all the heat is concentrated in the center. That's quite hot. That's alright. How are we getting enough water in there yet? There's water in there, yep, that's good. Check the other side. Yeah, they're not. It's not losing any water, that's alright. Let's just check. Okay, steam bore is right. You'll notice the steam bore sits around 90, 98, 97 degrees Celsius. If they're around that at that temperature, you know they are actually capable of generating steam. Now, if they're above that temperature, it means they're actually got a lack of water, which you can tell by the tank, 0. So if they go above 100, it's because they're not using enough water. No, they're using too much water, and hence you need to pump even more in. So you can let them run to about 600 degrees, I think. No, actually well above that. I've had ones up to 700 degrees and not explode on me. So essentially, if your reactor is getting too hot, have a look at your water first. Take note, if it is getting too hot and you haven't got enough water into it, you're essentially losing heat and you're losing power. So you can just get extra power by increasing the water you pump into it. So more water, more steam. Yeah, 950 million watts. So I'd probably use this reactor. I wouldn't use it near my base. If you see my Let's Play episodes, I do use a reactor right in my base, but it is a high temperature gas reactor, which you know, it can explode, but it won't explode with the amount of radiation. I've actually got radiation goggles here, which is the cheat item. And as you can see, all the green is actually radioactive material. If I wasn't in creative, I'd probably be getting sick or dying right now. And all this is because I dropped one piece of radioactive waste. Okay, so careful what you're doing with radioactive waste. If you drop it, make sure you pick it up really fast. I left it on the ground for a bit, so yeah. Oh, that one actually do like, it's like an arrow saying here it is. Oh, there's a piece of steam that escaped. I'm not too worried about that much steam getting lost. Maybe we want to fix this first. Concrete. There's the steam that's supposed to come out. Yep. Oh, I'm so hungry, so hungry. Where's the servo? There it is. Okay, yeah, that should work better now. Okay, so I think that's about it for today, guys. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'm probably going to, in a future episode, show you how to essentially extract and deal with the nuclear waste properly, you know, without dropping it. Also going to go do an episode on the bigger turbine there and the fusion reactor. I generally stay away from fusion reactors because, you know, how much power do you really need? If you've got 900 million watts, well, my whole base runs on 900 million watts or less, really. So, yeah. So I think that's about it today, guys. I shall see you next time.